Episode 7. I'm your host, George Jimenez, and I'm here with Mr. Ryan Mixler. What's going on, man?
Well, I've heard there's this new game from Bungie out called Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I hear all the kids are playing it, and
No, you
really
mean Marathon.
Marathon. I'm sorry, I got
by the guys who made Oni.
And we just lost all of our viewers that were about to watch this show. We lost all their dignity, so.
Yeah, I was like, I can't believe they made a Marathon reference. It's old. These guys are awful. So, hey, man, Ryan, what's going on?
Good. Actually, for the ShockCast, I was planning on just reciting all of the terminals from Halo 3, just reciting all the dialogue from them, word for word. That was my plan. Was
like our whole dialogue is just we just speak in terminals.
Yeah, in terminals. But yeah, I've been good. Catching up on. I haven't been playing Destiny, but I've been definitely following Destiny Fever because it seems like everyone's playing that. I've seen at least 20 pictures on Facebook of people playing it. So.
Like, here's a picture of my guy, my Warlock, my Titan.
Yeah.
I kind of have Destiny Fever.
Some very entertaining dancing photos from Destiny too. That look very fun. So.
That is one thing I do after like every major, like when we beat a raid, everyone just starts like just dancing and just point, and I'm like, you now dance, and he's just like, yeah, dance, and that gets kind of nuts. But yeah, Destiny, that's kind of a big deal. It's out now. I am playing it on probably all the consoles. Long story short, I got the digital version for the PS4, started playing that, and then the following day, it turns out I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered a copy on Xbox One on Amazon, and that showed up in the mail, and I was like, guess I gotta play it on Xbox One also. So yeah. I'm like dual logging Destiny playthroughs right now with just different groups of people. So I have like my PS4 friends, and I'm playing it with like Xbox One people, and it seems a little ridiculous for me to be doing that. I'm gonna make the decision, stick to a system, and see how that goes.
So before we get too much into Destiny, which is obviously going to take up most of our time, there were other games that came out besides Destiny this week. Should I go over them? Or
what? No.
I was like, so to quickly go through our new releases that have been out from September 7th to September 14th, 2014. Not 2015, not 2016, 2014. We have Mega Man X5, a PS1 classic for PS3 and PS3. Destiny for Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One. We have NHL 15 for 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4. We have Teslagrad for Wii U, The Keep for 3DS, Adventure Island, the NES version for Wii U, Planetarian, The Reverie of a Little Planet for PC, and Fable Anniversary also for PC. So yeah, not a whole lot out this week. It's kind of a small week. A lot of indie games,
Yeah, I think this is a, I think developers did this on purpose. I don't think they want to launch anything the same week of Destiny because it is the most anticipated game of 2014, according to
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with Destiny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even though I don't have it and I haven't played it yet, Destiny. I'll go with that. So.
What are you playing? I mean, you're going with Destiny also?
Yeah, I guess I'm going with Destiny.
Sure. You're not a hockeys man?
No, not a hockeys person, sorry. And Teslagrad I've not played, but I've heard good things about. But I'll go with Destiny just because I'm jealous of everyone else playing it, which I am not. So.
Okay, so so I'm playing Destiny. I have a lot to say about this game, so I don't even know where I want to start. So I'm gonna have you ask me things about Destiny, and we'll go from there.
About Destiny?
Destiny.
It's
Destiny playing on my desk. Destiny.
Yeah, so I know. So you said you're playing both versions, pretty much.
Yes.
So So I guess as someone looking at this all out from the outside, as someone that's just kind of like I'm just enjoying kind of watching people as they're playing, like whether they're streaming or posting videos or whatever like that. So, which I think Destiny is kind of perfect for the way that it, the multiplayer and how it kind of it's very community friendly. It seems like where it has like a lot of people like posting photos and interacting with each other or whatever. So I just I guess want to know what you think of the multiplayer so far, and just how it is playing by yourself or versus playing with other people, because that's one thing that I kind of like, if I did get the game, I'm kind of nervous about, is like, will it be as fun if I'm playing by myself versus playing with others, or what are your thoughts on it so far?
I can see why Bungie released that statement last week of like, hey reviewers, we kindly ask that you just don't do a day one review because the game doesn't really start till you're level 20, and also it's a multiplayer game. You want to experience all the features and blah blah blah. And yeah, the multiplayer is insane. As soon as you group up with people and you get into a fire team, you start shooting shit. It feels great. You can tell Bungie made that game because they kind of mastered that like 15 to 35-second enemy encounter where it just seems different every time. With people, it's excellent. By yourself, the combat is still good. It just feels a little bit. It's just a little bit boring. It's kind of like that we were talking about it earlier. That like Borderlands syndrome of things, where yeah, when you're with three other people, you're just kind of like shooting the shit, talking nonsense, and then when I'm throwing some fun gunplay on top of that, you're asking for like a really fun night. But since the story in Destiny is a little bit on the weak side so far, and I'm maybe at least on the PS4 version, I'm maybe like 6 or 7 hours in, and I could not tell you for the life of me what's going on in that game. The environments are gorgeous. I mean, I get excited when I go to a new place and shoot really funky-looking aliens. I think that's really cool. And I was playing a bit with Al and Tony, and yeah, it's super fun. But every time that Peter Dinklage robot came and said something, I'm like, I don't care. I don't know what he just said. Whatever. Just is there more guys to shoot? Great. And also the mission structure of that game is a little weird because if you're playing by yourself, a lot of it is literally just go over there, shoot a bunch of guys, or go over there, wait here and shoot a bunch of guys, or go over there, deploy your ghost to scan something or turn something back on and fight a bunch of guys. Collect things after fighting a bunch of guys, and their dead bodies would drop it. So there is a lot of repetition as far as just how the missions work. But so yeah, like it's weird because I'm really enjoying this game, and like I do have some gripes about I think the loading times are a bit crazy long. Because it's not like your typical first-person shooter or like where you just go from level to level to level. It's
Right.
You go to like a zone, clear out, especially in the kind of what they call the adventure mode, where you can just kind of go, here's all of Russia or Earth. You just go to Earth and pick up random missions and do like random world events, and you just kind of do as much as you can, and then you kind of go back to town. In this case, it's the tower, like the last city on Earth or whatever, and you go there and then you get rid of all your trash loot, you buy new things, you upgrade, you pick up some bounties so you can take it to the multiplayer. That's where you get that really like. I started comparing it to Phantasy Star Online, how you would just go to a zone, do the mission, get some loot, go back to town, just bullshit a little bit, dance on something, and then go back to shooting things. And that's really cool. Except I noticed there's some crazy long loading times. Like you get this really cool loading screen of like all your ships, and you're just kind of like flying around, just being space guys. But you're there for like 2 minutes, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is kind of dragging. And like in between multiplayer matches is still pretty long. Like, yeah, there's a lot going on the hood because the game is just gorgeous and phenomenal. Like when you're not just getting shot at or things are just blowing up around you, take a moment and just kind of look up and you'd be like, wow, that is an impressive skybox. And the game only gets cooler. Like I unlocked a different part of the moon, and I think I'm able to go to Venus now. So I'm kind of curious to see what Venus looks like. Yeah, my main concern is I'm already a level 9 or 10. The cap is 20, but then you can kind of subclass that'll like take you to another level, to a level 15. And they're saying the game really doesn't pick up until you're level 20. So we haven't been introduced to the main antagonist yet. We're really just going to aliens because they're dicks, just shooting them in the face. But I don't know who the main bad guy is yet. I think that story will probably turn around at some point, but at the moment, it's just Peter Dinklage just telling you things in a very monotone voice, and you can get some background of like, ooh, we used to have a colony here on the moon, and then the Hive took it over, and I'm like, I don't fucking get where are the Hive? I want to shoot them. Just give me things to shoot. But yeah, I think as a multiplayer game, it's so good. You sit there and you kind of. I love the variety and just like people's different approaches because anyone can use any weapon they want.
Right.
And combined with just different classes, the Warlock's got that big spirit bomb thing that they throw. The Titans do that like fist stomp, fist smash, and then the Hunters they just get holding guns and just get 2 shots that can kill anything in 1 shot, which is amazing. I mean, yeah, that multiplayer is really good. You do get some very like Borderlands vibes, especially when you start seeing the numbers come above someone's head. So it's really cool when you get like this really cool gun you can't quite use yet, and then you use it. It's like, oh man, instead of doing 65, I'm doing 75 damage. It's that weird like just feedback loop of those kind of like loot games that it's pretty good. Some people are like, oh, it's like Diablo with guns. Not quite. I wouldn't. That's like the highest compliment you can give one of those like loot games. It's not quite there, but like when you play it, it feels like you're playing a Halo game as far as like the combat is concerned. And, you have rechargeable health and shield, so you're just kind of like bobbing and weaving. That's really good. My big concern is I feel like talk to me next week, I will probably have blown past all the content.
Yeah, well, that was actually gonna be my next question because I didn't know that the level cap was like it seems pretty low. Again,
But they have
because
this
I know
reclassing, so it's like you're almost playing it through again. And
right.
I haven't seen any of the end game content yet, so they could say it's like, hey, it's another like 20 hours of things to do, and it's
Yeah,
like, all right. I mean, I'm not there yet. This is really
but that's
my first couple hours impressions of the game.
yeah, but that's what I was gonna ask was that if the level, if the if you could reach the level cap pretty quickly, like within like maybe 10 to 20 hours, I guess, or however long it takes
Hmm.
to get up to that level cap, what do you think there is to keep people going into the game, and like what kind of content is there other than just reaching the level cap to kind of keep players keep it going? Because the thing about Destiny is that like it's not just a shooter; it does have that kind. A lot of people have been comparing it more to an MMO, versus
Right.
so that's kind of what I was wondering is like what is there to keep people going in the game?
I would say it's probably the competitive multiplayer.
Okay.
So you've got your you go into this thing called the Crucible where at level 5 you unlock a mark and that lets you like, hey, you can fight other guardians. So basically there's 4 different modes you can unlock. So the first one is like this territories control mode where 3 points on a map you're fighting it out through. That's really fun. The only issue I have, oh no, and there's also like a deathmatch mode and there's 2 other modes which I think is like a capture the flag or just some weird objective mode that I'm not quite there yet. But those look pretty interesting. Al's telling me that they're really kind of fun. Yeah, I mean the only big difference is there's no like level restriction. So meaning like a level 5 would be in a match with a level 20 person, and the health is just scaled at that
Okay.
point. So like no numbers really pop out of here. It plays like a first-person shooter. Like this many bullets will kill that guy instead of like, well I have 40,000. Like no, there's none of that nonsense. It's the only problem is all of your skills will come in. So meaning a level 20 warlock will have access to more abilities, more grenade types than a level 5 warlock. So you will come into like those little discrepancies where it's like, oh look, we're even. Actually, no, we're not. And also it's the kind of like there's no weapons on the map that you can do. What they do is they throw the ammo types on there. So like every once in a while, here's like special ammo. So like guns like a shotgun or a sniper rifle. That ammo is kind of spread around the map where you kind of have to run your laps and try to farm them before the enemies could. And then every once in a while you get the heavy ammo. So it's like your rocket launchers and your big crazy fusion things. And those will come up every couple of minutes. And those you see basically the equivalent of someone fighting over the rocket launcher in like Ivory Tower and Halo.
Mm.
That's what the heavy is. So as soon as you start seeing purple on your map, just mad dash for it. And if you're smart, just kind of hang back and just do like a Hunger Games type shit where as the people go and just fucking slaughter them and camp it out. But the competitive seems really good. I'm a little, like I said, it's weird because in these type of games, especially comparing a Halo, even though it was so multiplayer focused, at any point if you were just kind of bored and didn't feel like grouping up with people, you did have this like single player campaign you could run through that had a pretty good narrative. And the thing is, I think Destiny's main problem is that it takes itself so fucking seriously. Like it's just hard sci-fi. The world is ending. The darkness is looming. Blah blah blah. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's nothing like that commercial you saw, the live action one where we're playing like Immigrant Song and the guys are just
Yeah.
chuckling
Yeah.
like, oh
That
man,
was
how do you say
that
goodbye
was
in big alien language? I don't know, but he knows how to say hello and just that kind of
yeah.
bullshit. And I'm like, that's kind of neat. But
That
yeah,
was a great commercial. It was almost like kind of Call of Duty-esque, like the typical like silly commercials they do around when the new Call of Duty are out. So
right. It seemed like really dumb cooperative banter. You know what I mean?
right,
Like,
but I
yeah,
mean
I get it.
that's also kind of like the Halo games too, where it's like the like outside of the games themselves, like Bungie like to have fun and kind of like be goofy and stuff like that. But in the actual games, it felt a lot more
Oh
serious.
no, this is
Like
serious
it was
business.
like
The traveler hasn't spoken in years, and I'm like, oh my god. Like you sit there just like, oh my god. Like we joke about these like AAA titles that they're just like they have their heads up their own ass like so far that it's just incredible. And that's why I love like Assassin's Creed 4 because it was a game that just didn't give a fuck about itself. Like
yeah.
your character made that known. He's like, I don't care about this. This assassin stuff is stupid. I just want to cut the guy. I just want to stab dudes. Is that fine? So yeah, there's no moment of that. And I think I played that game wishing Cortana was back. Like she should just leave those dumb phones and just come back.
You got Peter Dinklage though. I mean, doesn't that
It seems like he doesn't care. Like he cares as much as I do about what's going on around him. It's like, oh wow, dude, that's a big ogre. I'm like, if he's dangerous, emote or something. Like really sell the idea that I could die, and it's just like, should be careful. Like I said, it's super early. I'm hearing that once the main nemesis is revealed, and that the game opens up a bit. But like I have a hard time when people say, oh no, just give it like 9-10 hours, it gets better.
yeah, it's That's
Right.
always
I threw a person out of my GameStop store when we were talking about Final Fantasy 13, and they're like, "Oh no, good dude, you gotta give it a shot. It gets good. After 25 hours, the game really opens up." And I'm like,
yeah.
"Get the fuck out of my store!" Right?
I was gonna say that does remind me a lot. Like I wasn't gonna say Final Fantasy 13, but I was gonna say Final Fantasy 13, or even something like when I played Kingdom Hearts 2 with my friends, and like
Mm,
Kingdom Hearts 2 it's a great game, but it is very slow, and it takes like
right.
probably once you get past the first 5 hours, it really picks up. But I did totally have to do that, where I was like, well, oh, just give it 5 hours and it'll pick up. It's just the beginning that's boring as hell. So
It's like, oh, this movie's, the last 45 minutes are really good. And that's people are making
yeah,
that comparison. Look at a movie when people are like, look, yeah, well, I can skip to that part if I wanted to.
yeah,
Like, I can't do that in a video game. I have to put in the 25. I have to put in the 8 hours. I mean, but thankfully, like, the combat is so satisfying and done so well that I mean, it's a game it's just polished. Like, you can tell that like 1,000 people worked on this game.
yeah,
From the,
yeah.
down to the music, even down to the graphics. We took a bunch of screenshots. Giuseppe's gonna post up a one of those comparative things like how's it look on Xbox One and PS4. I mean, I'm playing them both, so they kind of look identical, which is pretty good. There might be some anti-aliasing nonsense there. I mean, like if you're one of those really annoying graphical guys, you'll probably pick up the slight differences. But for the most part, they seem to be running. I mean, not one system is hicked up. Nothing's hicked up on me, which is great. And that's always one you want to keep an eye out for, especially with these like multi-platform games on the Xbox One. It's like, oh, I can see a dip here. That's not cool. Like to me,
Yeah.
nothing's really dipped yet, especially when I've had a ton of things going on. I'm throwing like big Genki Dama spirit bomb things at dudes, and that seems pretty. That seems like it came. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm liking Destiny so far. I'm like, people keep asking if it like is hype. About the hype. It's like, oh man, was the hype real? I'm like, real in a sense that everyone's really excited for it, and once you get in and start playing it, you kind of start like, yeah, let's fucking shoot some aliens, man. You start feeling that, but when you kind of sit back and play it, it's not a bad game. It's just there's some just weird decisions they made like narratively where it's like, yeah, you want to tell this, they kind of should have said like, you know what, let's just go like Borderlands bonkers. Who cares what the story is? Just give them plenty of things to shoot. But it's just like they always kind of like bring back the story home. It's just like this is darkness coming. You people need to be on guard. And I'm just like, I can't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've yet to take the game seriously so far, just because it's so like, so rigid. It's just
Yeah.
the game
So
doesn't know how fun it is. I feel like that's the problem.
it's more the online, like the multiplayer and the social aspects of it that you're liking more than like the actual story and the
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because it makes those moments so much more bearable. You can laugh at how silly that game is, just because as long as as long as the shooting feels fine, and it does, it feels amazing, and you're doing that with friends, and it's just like, just give me bigger, crazier bad guys to fight, and that's fine. And and it does fall into, because there's almost like a grinding aspect to it, where you can farm for materials and reputation points, and that's where like they literally took the worst part of an MMO and put it in their game, where that aspect is like, well, let me go back to Earth and grind like Vanguard reps while I do this, and it's like. That whole and like I've never been a fan of doing something for hours to unlock a piece of gear when really you can make me do something more productive. To me, that just feels like you're just kind of padding the game a little bit.
Right.
So there's that sense of the game being a little bit padded, where it's just like, oh, here's a crazy quest. It's like, no, I just sit here, kill guys. Like I would have traded the like the 20 hours on Earth you'll have grinding by just giving me more planets or something. But I don't know what the likelihood of that is, because they already did announce a 2 expansion packs, one coming in like December, which it's gonna access to new planets. Because right now it's only 4 planets and the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought it would be the whole, I thought it would be the whole solar system. To me, I saw a bigger game in my head, but I'm already done with Earth for the most part. I'm done with the moon. I'm gonna go to Venus, and then whatever the next planet is. Mars? Yeah, sure, Mars. And so I'm kind of curious. So maybe that one playthrough, and then maybe once 20 happens, you go back to Earth, but there's different aliens here, and the sky's red or something. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's something that they're gonna, expand on in the DLC and the expansion packs and all that. It's just, besides giving more content, but just giving, more, more areas to explore and like all that kind of stuff, and maybe adding, expanding on it to make it even bigger. So.
Well, Ryan, this game has a 10-year plan. Okay.
So they say, yeah, the whole universe eventually. So.
Yeah, I was like, how big are we going with this game? Because it's very ambitious. Like I'll give it that, and it's very ambitious, and I want to see. And you can only really do this with like $500 million. like no other game can really get away with this kind of
So now,
nonsense or try
so
this
now
out.
is it a competition between Destiny and No Man's Sky when that comes out to see who can make like the bigger universe game?
I think No Man's Skies wins because it's all procedurally generated, so it's just kind of making things up as it goes, which is I always kind of applaud.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of what you do as a small development team. You just make these tools that just randomly generate, just so you don't have to waste time on it.
Yeah.
And the only thing you have to make sure is like whatever's randomly generated doesn't break the game.
Just make sure it works.
Yeah, and that's something you see that a lot in like indie games like Spelunky or La Mulana, where stuff is just kind of like they randomly did this because we couldn't afford to have a guy sit there and make maps. So just here you go, do them randomly.
Yep.
But yeah, that's Destiny. I mean, so far so good. Like I said, I have really just minor gripes about it. You can't really play it by yourself, and one of the problems I have so far is like the matchmaking system.
Mhm.
Where I always thought you go to a place and people just kind of get absorbed into your fire team, but that's really when you do something called a strike, which is like the equivalent of a raid in an MMO.
Mhm.
So it's just like you guys are grouped together in this area, kill a big boss, and then you just kind of then once it's done, you guys all right, see you, take care, I don't care, bye, and then everyone just kind of goes back to their own thing. I always thought like in the open world when you're doing like the story, anyone nearby will just be like, hey, we're gonna be group mates. It's like no, you're actually just kind of standing next to each other. Unless it's like unless it's like a public event when you do like the adventure mode where it's like defend these beacons from an alien invasion, so everyone in the area can see that and then they'll go and defend the beacon. But if they have their own like independent quests there, you're not going to be seeing the same things. Like you may be fighting the same groups of guys, but you're not quite truly together. And the only way to get people in your fire team is you go to the tower where there's just a bunch of people just running around, dancing. There's a soccer ball I found that I started kicking around, and we started playing soccer and the thing, and that reminded me so much of PSO because one of the lobbies was a soccer lobby where it's just you kick a big soccer ball into nets and stuff, and you just do that as you wait for you're waiting for your friends, and so yeah, we were kicking around a soccer ball, and I'm like I can't believe $500 million was spent, and probably more people will end up just dancing and playing soccer or doing these weird soccer type events outside of the tower near the postman, but I don't that it seems fun. I mean, like I'm. As much as I'm like, just kind of being cautious about it, I cannot wait to keep playing it, which is fantastic. So, but yeah, Destiny. I mean, I like it. There you go. It's okay. Good job, Bungie. It's not a flaming disaster. I think the ultimate fear was that people would we would play it and then it'd be like Resident Evil 5 all over again. Where you see like you can see a lot of work went into it. Like everything's pretty and gorgeous, but the game is bad. And
yeah,
like I said, I probably told the story many times. I'm playing Resident Evil 6 for review, and I'm playing it. I'm like, hold on, and like I reached out to my friend on Facebook, who was another games writer. I'm like, hey, dude, and it's like, hey, you're playing, and I'm like, hey, you're playing Resident Evil 6, right? He goes, yeah, I'm reviewing it. I was like, it sucks, right? And he goes, yeah, okay, good. I'm not the only one. I was like, all right, good. So I was afraid I was gonna get that feeling during Destiny, especially like since I played that beginning part of the beta so much.
Yeah.
To play it through again and then again on another system, I was kind of like, I saw this a million times. So as soon as I saw something new, it kind of reinvigorated me, and I was like, all right, let's see what else this game's got to offer.
I am glad that Bungie did address that about like reviews, and not necessarily trusting day one reviews, because again, this is something more like an MMO where it's gonna take it's probably gonna take people. I mean, I don't know what Giuseppe's plans are. I'm assuming he's probably taking his time with reviewing the game.
Right.
But this is something that we're probably not going to see reviews for until at least like a week or two. Like even
he also doesn't
early.
So there's a chance we could probably get a review this week.
Yeah, but
like, just cram 100 hours in that game, he'll make it happen.
Just in general, I'm saying for like games publications as a whole, like I'm sure like the earliest reviews you might see of the game, aside from the ones that are probably out because people are freaks, are like going to be a week or two away. Just to, give enough time. I hope so. To give enough time to the game and to see everything it has to offer, because it's not something you could just run through in 10 hours and write a review for. Because
and in the issue of fairness, it's a game you should probably play through. Do that second class, do that subclass, see what that end game content's about. Because I mean, there could be a good chance once you hit 20, it's just literally like a brand new game, and you're like, what the fuck? Like I can't wait for that. I mean, one of the Super Mario's is like that. Like it's like the real game doesn't open up until you get to the very end of these weird funky levels, and so yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for that. And also, that's just fair for it's fair. It's just fairness for the reader, for the developer, and just I mean it's fairness for your audience, because your audience wants to trust you, where it's just like I know the person who played this, I know the person who reviewed this game actually played it, and isn't just like, well, this game got a bunch of good reviews, here's a goodish review. I think like I remember years ago. I think when Gears 3 came out, I was talking to another journalist who shall remain nameless, and I was already reviewing the game, and I kind of knew already what I was going to give it. And the reviewer was like, yeah, we were playing it at, Big Sean was performing, and we were playing the game doing like Horde mode or something. And he was like, "Oh man," and I was like, "Oh, is your first time playing?" He goes, "Yeah, just got it. I just got my copy like a few hours ago. Then I come here, and so this is me. I'm finally playing the game." And then lo and behold, next day at like 9 a.m., he's got his 10 out of 10 review up there, and I'm like, he did not. And that person no longer writes game reviews anymore or writes about video games. But I'm just like, and it was from a site that was like somewhat credible, and I was just like, that's a disservice to your readers, and like I said, it's also not fair to the developer, because sometimes people give a game a couple hours and it's like, I'm gonna do my review and hate it, and it's like, well, no, you didn't really you didn't give it a fair shake. Like, if you're gonna trash a game, I want to make sure the person played it long enough to hate it, like long enough where he's thinking about it, and like, which I think that's what happened to me when I played Risen 3. Like I sit there, I'm like, I fucking hate this game, playing it, and then it kind of just slowly grew on me. And then I'm like, oh, okay, all right, guys.
Yeah, I think, because a game, because your opinion of a game could change, because for example, like a perfect example for me is the original Mass Effect, is because like I love the Mass Effect series, it's great, but the first game I had such a hard time like getting through the first couple hours of the game because it's just so slow, and so I think again, just you really have to give it like you really have to just even if it is a game you hate but you could end up liking for like Mass Effect,
you got to give it a chance to at least attempt to come together.
Yeah. And the Mass Effect was a perfect example for me. It was like the first like 3 hours I was hating, but then after I got off the Citadel, I fell in love with the game. So.
Oh, the Citadel elevators! I get it. Like, I love those games, and when people are like, those Citadel elevators were the worst.
They were really bad.
They were bad. And all it was a loading screen, and I was just like, those. Oh.
Yeah, because I have been wanting to go back and replay the Mass Effect games, but I know that like going back through the first one, like through the elevators and stuff like that, would be so difficult for me at this point. So it was like,
would you play a Mass Effect trilogy HD remake? Well, not an HD remake, just a
like HD remaster, or
yeah.
I could probably be persuaded.
Okay.
Probably, most likely yes, but
yeah. I mean, I'm looking towards that Master Chief Collection just because they went in and just redid everything from the ground up, which looks amazing, and they messed around with the multiplayer, and it's like, oh, like they treated it as if they're making a brand new game, but it just happened to be a game that already came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the difference of that, is that that's something that they're putting love and attention. Not that I guess to compare The Last of Us Remastered, where they're putting, they're treating it, and they're going in and they're tweaking things and refining it. Basically make it how you originally thought of the game when it first came out.
Like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Oh my god! When I heard that news that they were making a new Resident Evil 1, like they were remaking, I thought they were rebooting Resident Evil 1, so I got really excited, and I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome! I'd love to see a reboot, but like those Resident Evil 4 controls mixed in that mansion again, and they're like, oh no, it's just a HD remastering of the GameCube version, which was an HD remaster of the PS1.
It's the remasterception, because it's a remaster of a remaster.
Right, so we're rebooting reboots.
I know, we've gotten to that point now, so
I mean, you can't blame them, because we're so early in like the new console life cycle where it's just like, like we don't have any real games coming out for like 2 years. Like, what do we do in the meantime? A, to make money, and B, to keep our fans happy, and people, and they're like, oh, we like Resident Evil, we'll just remaster, make it pretty. And so that was really frustrating, because I feel like they really missed an opportunity. Like, if you're going to reboot Resident Evil or remaster it, you could at least went in and like, let's change the control scheme. Or maybe, obviously, because you can't do it because it's all fixed cameras and CG backgrounds, but it's like, wouldn't that have been great if they did it like Resident Evil 4? And like, that would have got me super excited.
That would have been cool, it would have been cool.
Also, we just don't know how things are at Capcom, where this is like, listen, this is the cheapest, fastest thing we can do, and this will keep the lights on for another 6 months.
Yeah.
So I can't really be too mad. I mean, I think the fanboy in me is upset about it, but the like rational adult who like took a business class is like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. These HD remakes, like like Sleeping Dogs or like Tomb Raider, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because some people rather just like, if you tell me there's a prettier version of this, I will play the prettier version, obviously, great, but I can't. Right, it's a reboot of a reboot. Of a reboot.
Of a reboot.
of a reboot. You're just like, I fucking can't. It's like, we're gonna be an HD remastering of Twin Snakes. I'm like, no, fuck you. I don't.
I would be down for that. That would probably.
Yeah,
Be
I
down
kind
for
of would. I kind of would be down for that.
Because I remember when I bought the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection last year, and when they said that it was going to include the first Metal Gear on there, I was kind of hoping that it would be Twin Snakes.
Nope.
But it was just the original. Not that I minded, but I was kind of hoping that they would put Twin Snakes on there. But alas, they did not.
What can you do, Ryan?
Yep.
Say la vie.
You know what we can do? Talk about news.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, news. Stuff happened during the week that was not Destiny related, but my first bit of news will be Destiny related. Apparently, they've shipped over. Let's see what the magic number was. $500 million of copies, not sold through, because apparently that's big important too. Like just
that was a little misleading. I think when I first read it was like because I originally thought that meant it sold 500 million. And I was like, holy crap! Like,
so basically, it's just telling me there are literally $500 million worth of Destiny copies just out there in the wild.
Yeah, pretty much.
So whether or not people buy them, that's a different story. We'll probably know that at the end of the month when the MPD comes out, which will be a little misleading because a lot of people went digital for Destiny. Like, so did I, because if you can tell me I can preload a game and just right at midnight I can play, I'm going to do that instead of putting on pants and going to GameStop, because A, I hate putting on pants, and B, I hate waiting at line at GameStop because it's like, hey, I used to work there, so it's like, hey man, you should pre-order this. Hey, are you a Power Up Games Card member? You should be, because you get 10% off. I know the whole pitch is crazy, but yeah. So like I prefer digital, and they don't count those. So these MPD numbers are going to be a little bit misleading because I feel people went that digital route.
And again, I think I feel like that's going to be a factor, is that a lot of people were probably incentivized to go digital versus retail copies. And the other thing too is like I think it'll sell well, but obviously the key factor is that there still aren't as many PS4 and there still aren't as many PS4s and Xbox Ones out there as there are 360s and PS3s.
Yeah. And
so
and they are offering that free upgrade if you got it digitally on the PS3 or
So that. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if the game sells more on PS3 and 360 just because there are more systems out there and because there is that offer. So, I think it'll still do really well though.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what going to be that final number is of at least this first month of people buying that game, and I want to know. It'll probably be the number one seller, but I'm kind of curious to see what that number is. And like I said, they don't really reveal the downloads of it.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, they hit you only hear about how many downloads when it's like a milestone where it's like we just had 10 million downloads of Destiny. Unless it hits that, we probably will never know what that number is, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, Destiny. There's a lot of them, so maybe you should go buy them. Okay, so speaking of sales numbers, we do have that poor fucking Xbox One in Japan.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you know the number? I have the number here, but do you know the number?
I don't remember the exact number offhand. I know it wasn't very good.
Do you want to do an over-under?
Okay.
Okay, so over-under 100,000.
Under.
Over-under 50,000.
Over.
Wrong!
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I was...
A whopping 23,562 units were sold in Japan in its first week, according to Famitsu.
Wow.
This was following up the very lackluster launch. We saw all those videos of people not lining up for it. They said nope. Said, hey, Xbox One's out. They're like, okay, that's cool. No, I mean.
Yeah, which actually I just looked it up actually, but that actually it did do worse than the Xbox 360 as well. When its first week sales, the Xbox 360 had over 60,000 in its first 2 days. So,
and I'm kind of curious as to why it like that number made no sense to me. And then of course I saw the Dreamcast, 101,000. Okay.
Yeah.
3 days. Nice job, Dreamcast. But that poor guy. It was the little tangent. It was the anniversary of the Dreamcast this week. I think it was its 10th year.
Yeah.
Was it 10th year or 1999?
99. So no, it would be 15.
Wow! I love that system. And by the by, my Dreamcast is on its way, so I will be doing that video series of Dreamcast Did It Better coming soon, where I will be playing awesome Dreamcast games.
That's when George says that Seaman was better than Destiny, and he gets all the fanboys riled up. So.
Good. He's like, he grows. He learns.
Yep.
He's alive. I should probably get that mic. That came with a microphone, I think, too, right? Like you got to talk to it.
Yeah, you
And
got
it
to
would
talk
like,
into a
and then like
microphone.
some weird, yeah. That game was so weird and very
Yeah,
like nothing was more Japanese than Seaman, and I was just like, this is amazing. I will
yeah,
play the shit out of Shenmue. I want to record myself playing that and maybe do like a log of it, like the whole series. I'm like, I'm gonna run through fucking Shenmue and
yeah.
just
That
not
was
to the. I'm just gonna live my life. I'm not gonna look for sailors. I'm just gonna live my life in that game and just go to my job, riding, racing forklifts,
yep.
doing some kung fu in the park, like that. Yeah, Shenmue. Shenmue. Would you play an HD remake of Shenmue, Ryan? Or is that game so like blah that you're done?
No, I would, because I never got to play Shenmue, and that was always one of those games that I want, like one of those kind of older school games I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
play. And which is why because there were always those rumors about them releasing it on like Xbox Live as as an HD re-release, but never
They were
happened.
because
So
no one really bought Shenmue.
yeah,
Like Shenmue 2 came out was like so limited release anyway. It was just like, yeah, if you're in Europe, you got Shenmue 2, and like, oh yeah, it came out for like a week in the United States. I forget what it had some weird launch thing for Shenmue 2, and it was also be part of a trilogy. So we
yeah,
never got to Shenmue 3,
nope,
which was and
nope.
Shenmue 2 was amazing because you went to Hong Kong and you're just like, muggers just shut a button, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna fight, and that game does not hold up well at all.
Yeah,
Like I mean, as for like scientific purposes, yeah, I think everyone should play Shenmue. But for fun, you should probably not play Shenmue.
Sonic Adventure, that's where it's at. So
That game, you got chased by a killer whale on a boardwalk. I remember seeing commercials when the 9999 when the Dreamcast first came out, and it was like
yep,
they got celebrities to play, and it's like Method Man's like, this game is crazy. There's a killer whale behind you, and also those great 2K football games. Oh man,
yep.
PSO, Fantasy Star Online. You need to come back. That game needs to be released. So no one bought an Xbox One in Japan.
Nope.
The numbers include copies of Titanfall, Connect Sports Rival. We got some actual games sold. So Titanfall, which the game that sold the most, had the highest attach rate. It almost had, since the number's so low, it almost had a 1-to-1 attach rate, which was
That was pretty crazy. So
yeah. Titanfall had 22,416 copies. So there are like 400. No, there's like 900 people who just did not buy Titanfall. And then Dead Rising sold 7,000 copies. Connect Sports Rivals was the second highest selling game with 15,000 units.
that's actually it's pretty. I was gonna say considering how badly it bombed
Oh
here,
wait,
like, it was like
the numbers include copies of Titanfall and Connect Sports Rivals bundled with the Day One edition.
oh that's
Some of them
there you
already
go.
came
That's
with
why.
the game, or some of them
Yeah.
had promos going where it's like, hey, get this one or that one. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I always said they should not release the system until it has a Monster Hunter on it.
Yeah.
Like I think
That's
you
the thing
wait
is
for
like
that.
I think a large part of this is just because, and again, this was also like on the Xbox 360 as well as
Mhm.
like I think a lot of it's just the appeal and the type of games that are out on the on Microsoft's consoles versus what Sony has to offer. Because Sony traditionally has a lot more Japanese developers and a lot more Japanese series, and
Mhm.
I think just the influence of the console is a lot stronger there versus what Xbox has to offer, which is typically a lot of people say it's the Xbox consoles are the shooter consoles, but a lot of the
Right.
games that they have on there appeal more to Western audiences than they do to
Which
Japanese
makes
audiences.
sense. Like the,
Yeah,
the, the Xbox One over there needs an Akiba strip. Like it
yeah,
needs those really kind of weird like.
yeah. Because I remember with the 360 when they tried to launch it with Blue Dragon out in the 360, but both the system and the game just kind of tanked.
I mean, we'll see. Good luck. I mean, I applaud Microsoft for even bothering in there because it's such a tough market to break into.
Yeah,
But really, I mean, we've seen with the Wii U, it just sometimes all it takes is just that one game. It needs its equivalent of a Mario Kart, or like if Metal Gear was an exclusive title, maybe that would have done better. But I think it
yeah.
needs a monster. It needs a Monster Hunter because apparently Monster Hunter is just like the secret sauce that just that's what makes people crazy over there in Japan. That like a Dragon Quest or something.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
typically you see those more on Nintendo's consoles, so
poor guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think a lot of it is I think mostly just Microsoft kind of being the away team,
Mhm.
kind of when they go there. So and just having that kind of disadvantage when they go there. So I don't know. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just avoided a Japanese launch altogether with their next console, just because it hasn't worked out for them,
Yeah, I mean, I
multiple
would.
times.
They should have waited for the games. Like
Yeah.
they should have waited for something where they knew that it was going to test well with the Japanese, and clearly they just kind of launched it to launch it. I mean, I'd say it might do better in China because now they can actually sell systems in China, or they're going to sell systems in China. I
Yeah.
mean, so yeah, maybe China ends up being the home of the Xbox, which would be really strange.
Yeah, it would be weird but cool, if it
Yeah, I mean
happens. So
that'd be kind of neat. Like, and and it's just a market of just free Korean RPGs or something going on there.
yeah,
It's all like Nexon, free Kingdom of the Winds type, just play as you go games. Like, yeah, that would be so bizarre if the Xbox One just people just looked at it, this is amazing American product. Let's go nuts. Yeah. And it's just, so I don't even know
what does
that's
this
not my
connect?
Chinese.
What
That
does
was a
this
terrible Chinese accent.
They're just like, what does this Connect Sports rival?
Yeah, but what if Connect Sports Rival, a game I reviewed, is just like the game that
It,
just
it
says this
becomes
game's incredible. Like,
it becomes the biggest seller of the year in China,
they love fake rock climbing in China. Let me tell you.
or like Max Curse of Brotherhood, or like something
Yeah,
random, just
something
like
where, and I would not be surprised if that happened in China. Where it's just like Crimson
Titanfall.
Dragon,
Titan,
greatest
Titan,
game ever.
Titanfall sells like 100 copies, but they really liked Killer Instinct, so
NBA Live got delayed up until October 28th, which is the start of the NBA season.
yes.
Ryan, do you care about NBA Live?
I do not. I'm not a big sports gamer, but it makes sense from what I understood of the announcement that they want to kind of coincide and ride that basketball fever. So
That's the spin. They also said
yeah,
that there was some polishing that the game needed a couple of weeks
that's
for,
true.
which is
Yeah,
never
I
a
think that.
great sign.
Yeah,
Usually, when we see like delays for polish, like we're gonna take a couple of months and just really iron these. Like we need a couple of weeks, just like a few weeks, man. Just a couple of weeks. The jerseys aren't swaying right for whatever reason. When you tip off in the third quarter, the game freezes. We don't know how to stop this, so just give us 2 weeks. Just
yeah,
we got it. And like, yeah, I mean, NBA Live has just been such a tainted franchise at this point, where they had to cancel. EA had to cancel their basketball game a few years ago for, was it
right.
NBA Elite?
Something like that. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was basically the same team just working back on Live. And yeah, I mean, I won't mind if it comes out, because I think 2K needs a competitor right now, even though the 2K basketball games are always stellar and amazing.
yeah,
But I feel like they might end up turning into what Madden turns into, being like the only game of its kind out, that they just get lazy after a couple of years. And it's like, well, let's just do roster updates. Why are we spending all this money in researching new modes and just spending more development time? Just make the graphics somewhat prettier and just make sure the rosters are up to date. Make
right.
sure Yao Ming looks like Yao Ming, and we're good.
Do you think we'll see a Tiny Titan in NBA Live? That'd be awesome. If just every sports game came with a mini, an accidental mini player, be great.
Like a tiny LeBron.
Tiny LeBron.
That would be.
Give you a little LeBron, and there you go.
I think they'll. I think they'll do some stupid thing, like when Nintendo like acknowledged the Luigi Death Stare. I think for like a goof, they'll put it in a trailer and just put like a tiny LeBron running around, or little
Yeah.
LeBron. Batman Arkham Knight Batmobile Edition, Ryan. I'm gonna try something a little bit new. I'm gonna show you this damn thing. I'm gonna show you, the beautiful people out there, what this fucking guy looks like. Let's see if this works.
Oh,
Bam!
it's happening. It's
that-
happening. Hold
Alright,
on.
Stop talking.
It's happened.
Oh
It
yeah,
happened.
that's a Batmobile.
Yep.
It's a statue. You get 3 unique skins from the DC Comics New 52 universe, whatever that means. You get a comic book. You get a steel bookcase and game disc. Not a steel game disc, that'd be kind
I
of.
was just saying, a steel game disc, that'd be pretty awesome.
An 80-page art book with concept art of Batman, the Arkham Knight. I'm not going to buy this. I don't know how you feel, but I don't care.
I'm not gonna buy it either. The statue is pretty cool though. I
the
will say
statue's
that.
neat.
So
But I let me see how much they're asking for, and then I can go make fun.
I
of
would
them.
imagine probably at the 150 range.
You would be correct, good sir. That
Yep.
is dangerous. I cannot. This is releasing in North America and New Zealand, so that's pretty random. But yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to spend that much money for a toy that will sit on my desk for maybe a couple of months and then just kind of fall off because of so much other crap I got from pre-order bonuses on my desk falling off. So yeah, I mean that's another game. I just want it digitally. Just let me get it at midnight. Let me be Batman at midnight. Damn it.
Batman.
Resident Evil Revelations 2 got a trailer.
I did.
Yeah, it'll be episodic or some nonsense. You did the post. What's
Yes, I
happening
did
here?
do the post. So they revealed some new details about the game. So obviously the characters, they're going to be Claire Redfield, who is Chris Redfield's younger sister from. She was in Resident Evil 2 and Code Veronica. And then there's also Moira Burton, who is Barry Burton's daughter. And as you know, he was the Jill Sandwich joke maker. That was him.
Joe, you, the master of lockpicking, can unlock anything. Yeah.
So
I'm running
basically,
the trailer right now. It looks a little
yeah,
dumb.
it
It's
works.
Resident
That's
Evil.
fine. It works. So basically, the game, when it first comes out, it's going to be released as a download, like basically as a Walking Dead style episodic game. So they're going to release it in 4 weekly chapters. And then after the episodic versions are out, then they're going to release the retail disc version that will have
What's
all
that
the
thing
content.
on her hand?
I don't know. I couldn't really see because it's in 360p. So.
Oh, it's got a little. She's got a little green bracelet on that looks like what they gave the people during the Xbox conference.
Maybe you have to just all start blinking during.
You think Joe went to that? Claire went to that same conference?
Yeah, she couldn't get the damn thing off. So, but yeah. So that's the game. So they said they'll have a season pass where you can get all the episodes. It's like 24.99, and then individual episodes are $5.99 each. If you get the season pass, there's content that will not be in like the individual episodic releases, like if you buy them individually. But then in the retail version, there's content that will not be included with the season pass. So I have a feeling I'll probably just wait for the disc release. So
Yeah, because that sounds a lot less confusing, and
yeah,
it's kind of like what Capcom did with like Asura's Wrath, where it's just like, hey, we have this game. Oh yeah, by the way, the epilogue is DLC, and it's like, well, fuck you, Capcom.
yeah,
Also,
yeah,
Asura's Wrath is really good.
yeah.
And I
So
say
that's
good in quotes.
so that's the deal with Resident Evil Revelations 2. I'm looking forward to it. I really like the first Revelations a lot, so I'm hoping this will be really good.
And Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us will come to Xbox One and PS4 this fall.
Yes, they will. Walking Dead, the first season will be out this October on Xbox One and PS4. After it was released last year on PS3 and 360 and all that. And then season 2 is also coming out in a bundle for 360, PS3, Xbox One, and PS4. And then Wolf Among Us is also coming out Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One.
All right, and I guess while still bothering you about Walking Dead, you reviewed season 2.
I did, yes. I did my full review of the entire season as a whole after I did all the episodes individually. So altogether, I gave the season. I think this was a tough season to review just because because season 1 was really really good, and obviously I feel like season 2 kind of had a lot going against it because trying to live up to that, especially like when it's a game like Walking Dead where your decisions you make have an influence on how the story unfolds and all that. So my final score of the second season was an 8. I think it was a really strong season. I thought it was really good. Like the story was great, and playing as Clementine kind of changed a lot of things because you saw. Because in the first game, as opposed to where you were playing, did you play Walking Dead at all? Or
Yeah,
you
the
played
first season.
right?
Yeah, I played the first season.
You haven't finished season 2, right? Or,
No, sir.
okay, so I'll try and keep it spoiler free. So
Yeah,
I can't promise anything. So yeah, the part where the zombies come and they kill people, like all that. So, uh, so anyway, I think it's different in like from the first season where you were Lee protecting Clementine, and so that was kind of your mission and your goal was protecting. But now that you're playing as her, you kind of see things from a different perspective because now she's learning to survive, and she's kind of adapting this whole like being more independent and trying to learn how to live in this new world. But I think the biggest issues I had were some character inconsistencies with like the development and the pacing a little bit. I think the season kind of suffered a lot from the typical structure of a Telltale like series where it's like the first couple episodes are really good, then the middle tends to sag a bit. The fourth episode usually kind of is the weakest point of the season, which happened both with this season and with Wolf Among Us, where the fourth episode was kind of like the really not great one.
Clunker.
Yeah, but then it finishes really strongly. I thought the season ended really well too. I think the biggest thing is that this season really sets up a lot of, without spoiling anything again, is that the ending of the season really sets up a lot of possibilities for the beginning of next season. So I'm kind of curious to see where that goes. but overall, like I enjoyed the season a lot. I thought it had a lot of really good like set pieces and a lot of good action parts. Had a really great villain like in the middle of the season as well. Probably one of
Does
the
it
best
control
parts.
better when you do it when you get into those action bits? Because I know in the first season, anytime where was forced to shoot zombies, it was actually the worst part of the game.
Yeah, I think it was better overall because I think they did less of that, like especially the parts like later on in the first season where they had you do kind of like the fake first person shooting stuff.
Mm.
You know, was so they didn't really do that as much this season, which I thought was a lot better. And you know, again, I think like the overall the season was good. I just felt like my main issue was some of the character development being very inconsistent. Like with or especially the big thing is that you know obviously it's Walking Dead, so characters die,
Mm.
but it's like uh, a lot of the characters kind of get it introduces a lot of new characters, but I feel like a lot of them don't really get a lot of meaningful development before they're killed or you know before they disappear or go elsewhere, which is kind of disappointing because you know it kind of feels like you know well you introduce all these characters but you don't really do much with them. So that was really my only big criticism for the season, but it was still really good. It's really worth playing, especially if you played season one.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I'm waiting for the right weekend where I can play all 5 episodes.
Yeah,
But
I
then
think that's yeah.
I have to play all of season one over again on the PC just because I did
Yeah.
it on 60 and I'm just like I don't want to go back to that. So
That's what I had to do with when I was reviewing season two was because originally I played season one on Xbox, but I wanted to play season two on PC, so I replayed all of season one and I played 400 days, and then I got into season two.
right,
So
400 days I got to do
yeah,
also, which I actually kind of liked. I think for that structure, it
that
was actually
was
kind of neat.
yeah. I think that still is 400 days. Actually, I think still is one of my favorite like episodes of the series so far. So
Okay, and I think that's it. Ryan, what have you been playing? What are you going to play? What's going to be occupying your time, your leisure
uh,
activity? What is going
my
to
leisure.
be relating to
Uh,
video games, to gaming and video? What are you doing?
Dreaming of Smash Brothers is the big thing, which obviously is still a couple weeks away. But until I start playing that and play only that for probably a long time, I'm just going through backlog stuff right now. I think I said last week I finished Dishonored,
Yeah.
which was really fun. I enjoyed that. So new stuff I was not new stuff, but new old stuff I've been playing. I started diving into Max Payne 3 because that's been sitting on my 360 for a long time.
Fun game.
And yeah, it's been very good so far.
It's
And
literally just Max Payne on like a Wednesday.
yeah,
Like
pretty
it
much
doesn't
just
really
like
tie. There's nothing to do with the previous two games. It's literally just like
it is.
in
Yeah,
Hoboken, I got to shoot a bunch of guys. Like I love
yeah.
that you're in Hoboken, New Jersey,
I
shooting
was
dudes in a graveyard, which is
I
kind of
was
amazing.
I was enjoying the Hoboken, New Jersey shout out. It was great. But yeah, it's been
Jersey in
good.
the house.
I've never played any of the previous Max Payne, so this is my first one. So I've been really enjoying it so far, just because it's very different from other Rockstar games because it is linear. It's not like an open world game, so
Mhm.
it's just you know it's interesting because like instead of getting that open world structure, you get these linear levels, but they're really detailed. There's like the level design is probably like my favorite thing about
Yeah, the
the game
game's
so
super
far.
gorgeous,
It's
and
like
I remember the install being like 35 gigs or something. Because
oh yeah, well actually no, that was funny. I was playing it last night, and I have the games on demand version, so I have the digital version of the game, and it turns out in the middle of the game, I got to like the middle of the single player campaign, and it said, "Oh, you have to download a DLC to get the rest of the single player," and I was like. What? It was like, but then it turns out I had to go to an extras menu and download. Basically, I had to
the
download
HD
content
pack.
packs that had. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to download like I had to download 3 game content packs, and they were all 2 gigs each. So I'm like, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not playing any more of this tonight. So I had to let it sit and download everything, and then I'm actually probably gonna
Yeah.
play a little bit more tonight. But it was very strange the way they phrased it. I was like,
Mm.
wait, do I have to pay to pay the rest of the? But it was
Bought
very
this. I should
confusing.
have a
I was like,
full game.
yeah, as I say, I was like, I bought it, and I was like, I bought it. I should have the full game. It was weird, but yeah. So I was playing that, and then also a little bit more of Rogue Legacy on PC. But other than that, that's about it. It's another fun game, but it's like it's like I must have gone through at least like 25 children so far playing
Yeah,
that game. 'Cause it's like
that'll happen, and then you'll start hitting one of those
yeah.
funks where you just feel like you just keep dying every 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's a really tough game, but it's really fun though. It just I think the biggest like part that I enjoy is just getting new children, seeing what their stupid like their ability traits are and abilities, like getting like the vertigo or like you know
Yeah.
nearsighted and like all those, or a game age like I got you know multiple times.
Mm.
So,
Game age.
yeah, but
Uh,
that's it for me. And then obviously just watching people play Destiny has been a lot of fun. Just like seeing people like you know Tony or Al or Joel or whoever playing Destiny. So
and yeah, I'm playing mostly Destiny this week. I am going to play some Lethal League, which is a a baseball fighting game where you guys have bats and you have to hit each other with a ball that's floating around, so it becomes like almost like ping pong, except the ball will kill you. Also got Dance Central Spotlight, which we will make a video for once we figure out the logistics of it, because that seems like I will get my younger brother's breakdancing outfits and I will put something on and I will fucking dance my ass off.
Yes.
To some Lady Gaga or something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Might also play some Warframe and do a nice little a little video thing of. I'm thinking I got two names in mind. I got very traditional DualShockers play Warframe, or and I'll leave this to you guys. Joysticking with George.
I kind of like that one.
Look at that.
Although
dance party here now, man.
Although another gaming site that will go nameless that rhymes with Schmoystick might get mad at that, for using their name, but we'll see.
Unless they hire a George, then I don't see a problem. Unless they have a George on staff. I won't use a Q either. It'd just be regular joystick. Joystickin apostrophe. And that'll be it. We got a couple things going on the site. You could win a white PS4 Destiny bundle. Just go to our site, fill out the little game locker dome thing that we have there on the right hand side, and I could show you what it looks like, because why the hell not? Let's take full advantage of the features, because this is an all-encompassing. We're just transmedia. So on this right hand side here, you can enter to win a PS4 Destiny bundle. You go in, it's like a points thing, and you get a number of entries, and I'm losing my voice because I talk too damn much. But there are 4 days left. We're going to select a winner once that happens, and then if you do win it, make sure you take a picture of it, tweet it, tell us how much we're fucking awesome, because you literally just got a $400 system for nothing. And it comes with some PS Plus, I think 3 months of PS Plus. And yeah, that's actually really friggin' neat. So you should do that. And finally, of course, Ryan, you know what I'm going to talk about, right? It's the end of the show. I have to talk about our awesome. Look at that! Look at me, just like directing the show here. Our awesome T-shirts on our website.
Oh my god!
From TeePublic. I called them something else last week, which was a different vendor of T-shirts. Don't go to them. Go to these guys. Right from our main page, you can get a cool DualShocker shirt like this, or Sub-Zero and Scorpion playing Street Fighter. That's weird. Yoshi. There's Iron Man ironing. Get it? Because he's Iron Man, and that's what you do with an iron. There's some Last of Us nonsense. There's a Mugu thing. There's an at says "Come at me, bro." It's just tons of great shirts you can get. When you buy from there, you help us out, and the shirts are cool, and you'd be a cool guy if you did cool things like that. So just letting you know, right, Ryan?
Yes, because I always need more T-shirts in my life of my favorite geeky things.
Right? That's what I'm saying. And that'll be it. I say
to myself every day as I go home.
Yeah, right. My life would be better if I just had another Wolverine shirt. But yeah, that'll be it. This was ShockCast 187. I'm gonna stop numbering these, right? I think the George regime will be no numbered ShockCasts. It'll just be like, bam, just fucking ShockCast. Enjoy it.
Well, I revolt and will not take.
Is that the line? Is that the line I just crossed? Like, dude, you just have to keep these numbered, all right?
I just said I'm done. Thanks, I'm gone. So.
Fuck you. Do this yourself, and I'll do a fucking podcast myself. All right, I can talk. Please. Yeah. Wait till you see the videos I'm gonna do. It's basically gonna be me talking like a crazy person. Yeah, and that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out our site, read our things. Again, I've been George. Peace, love, all that, and I'm here joined by the awesome Ryan Eisler.
That ShockCast came from the moon. I had to make that joke. I'm sorry. I had to sneak it in there somewhere. So.
I refuse to use like any like a date with destiny kind of headlines or this is your destiny type bullshit, because I feel like everyone's podcast will have something like that, and that made me my butthole clenched when I see people use like a date with destiny or no. Yep. I think Tony did that for one of the ShockCasts, and I yelled at him about it.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember that one now. So I'm gonna change the title just for you and make you mad as I'm uploading this to YouTube.
All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next week, where we will probably have a special guest.
Ooh.
See, well, it's called a teaser, Ryan. You tease it for the following way people get interested and watch it. It's TV talk. We'll talk after. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace. Love you. Mwah.
Bye bye.